In order for our brand to get noticed and to stick in people's memory, we have to be consistent with our content. And by being consistent with our content, what I mean is that you publish something once a month, once a week, or even once a day. We need to always be in view of our potential customers as much as possible. And by creating content consistently, we'll go some way to achieving that. However, it takes more than just consistent content. What you also need is brand consistency as well. So what do I mean by brand consistency? In order for people to remember your brand, it has to become familiar to them. But what I see time and again are brands that produce a lot of content, but they have zero brand consistency between each of those pieces of content. Examples of this are they don't use their brand identity in a consistent way. They also may be changing their tone of voice from each piece of content to the next. And as a result, that means that the brand's personality is changing from one piece of content to the next. In my previous videos about purpose, vision, mission, and values, the one main thread going through all of those is that you have to live by them. When I look at a lot of branded content, this isn't what's happening. And as a result, the viewer, the potential customer, is getting a really jumbled message of what the brand's about and what their personality is and what they're trying to achieve. Sure, if the piece of content is about selling a particular service or product, that will be clear. But the customer wants more than that. They want to connect to the brand that they're buying from. They want to love it. They want to trust it. If when you're posting content, your brand appears to have a different face every time, how could someone love or trust that? It's not going to be easy, is it? I understand why brands do it. It's the easiest way forward to just come up with a piece of content there and then and get it out there. We've got to be consistent. We've got to have consistent content. It does take a little bit more thought though and planning to create a piece of content that sticks to your values, that is related to your purpose, will allow you to achieve your vision. But when it comes to the hard way of doing things, people tend to skip on that and go for the easier option. Look at Coca-Cola, for example. All of their content is highly linked to their values and their mission. They have millions and millions of brand advocates, people who are loyal to the brand, who will only drink Coca-Cola. And there's a reason for that. They've stuck to the plan. Everything they do is brand consistent. Now, Coca-Cola have had over 100 years to do that. You may be brand new with your business, but it doesn't take 100 years to get brand loyalty, especially today. With the advent of the internet and social media, you're in a prime position to reach millions of people with just a click of a mouse button. We are in fortunate times when it comes to raising brand awareness and consistently putting our brand in front of people. So, to make sure that you're not only consistent with your content, but that you're brand consistent, you need to make sure that you have your purpose, you have your vision, you have your mission, and you have your values all set in place. By doing that, that will then make it easier to work on your brand's tone of voice and also your brand identity, which is the visual aspect, which is what people will see, the typography, the colors, the things that they can instantly spot at a distance and get that old memory going of what your brand is and what it's about. By pooling all of these together, you will find it so much easier to create the content to be brand consistent. Without it, you'll most likely suffer from brand personality disorder, which is where your audience, when they're viewing your content, see different messages, different personalities, even different brand colors and typography, which is just so confusing that there's not a chance they're going to remember your brand when it comes to the point that they need to purchase the product or service that you specifically offer. So that's my quick rundown on being brand consistent. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, make sure you give it a like and please subscribe to my channel. Also, I'm going to ask, if you do find it useful and you know someone in business or a colleague that would also find it useful, please share the channel with them. Sharing is caring, isn't that what they say? So until I see you next time, folks, stay creative.